Okay, so it's a little bit past 6 o'clock, so I'm just gonna start, and I'm gonna be putting this on my page so anyone that comes in later can catch the whole thing. I'm gonna make it super short tonight, but today is my 1 year anniversary doing the Inner Glow Up, my blog and ministry. Hey Jose or Giselle, not sure which one of you is on. Yeah, it's my 1 year anniversary, and it has been an incredible, crazy journey. And I don't know how many of you guys have started a business or a ministry or just really honing in on one of your passions. It can be very tough. Hey. It could be very tough sometimes when you have this huge vision for yourself, or God has given you an idea that you have to push forward, and you're thinking, how am I going to get this done? Do I have the time, the energy, the knowledge, the skills to be able to do this? Do I have the support? And when God gives you an idea, you kind of have to sit there and pray about it and see, okay, is this the right time? And a year ago, it was about a month or so before I was supposed to move across the country to California from New Jersey. And I just kept feeling this thing in my head, and I kept having people come up to me and asking for help for life advice, things about health, things about their faith, all these different areas. And I just felt like it is part of my calling to help people, but it made it a lot easier to put it all in one place when people could access it at a time that was easier for them. And sometimes you get 5 to 10 different people asking you about the same thing. So it's a lot more efficient when you have it on a YouTube channel or a blog. And it wasn't easy, and I was really nervous. I never thought that I would have a blog about faith or health. I really wanted to be a travel blogger years ago. For those that don't know, I am addicted to traveling. So this past year, quarantine has been very difficult for me because I just want to go to another country, get more stamps on my passport. But it all takes time and patience. But I have learned so much in this last year. It has shown me consistency in many areas, or areas that I need to improve in. I have learned how to really rely on God more, because He was asking me to do so many things that I honestly wasn't comfortable with. Going on live, some people are like, oh, Stephanie, you're outgoing. And inside my head, I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope I don't say anything stupid. I hope I don't mess up. And I got really nervous and anxious. But I'm getting better, and this year, that's one of the things I'm trying to improve on and hone up my speaking skills. But things like that, it's like, okay, are you willing to face the things that you're afraid of? Are you willing to take workshops to get stronger at those things? Are you willing to ask for advice? Are you willing to go to a mentor or to a therapist to improve those areas? There were many things that God wanted me to talk about that I either wasn't ready to talk about, or I didn't feel healed in, or I didn't feel like I had enough knowledge. And I wanted to make sure that I was speaking from a healed place. So simultaneously, while I was doing the blog, there were certain times that I was like, I need to speak with a therapist or speak with someone that I trust to try and get these things out and work them out, so I'm not speaking from a broken place. Because a lot of times social media promotes these ideas that, oh, you have to have a business, oh, you have to make 6 figures, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. And they're not really giving you all the tools that you need, or are honest that sometimes you're not ready to do some of these things. You're not consistent enough, you're not stable enough in certain areas, and that's a recipe for disaster and gonna create more stress. So I always recommend kind of doing an inner analogy and say, okay, this is what I really need to dive into and break apart. Why do I still feel this certain way when a situation with a friend comes up? Why do I not want to talk to certain people? And really diving into those things, so then that way you can live free, because we're not meant to be like living a life that we're so trapped within ourselves. And it's so easy when you have a society that it's like consume, 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 but you're consuming and not really letting things out of your system. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask me. Hey, Brian. Oh, thank you. I think the most enjoyable thing was to learn about myself and how far I have come, and to be able to face my fears. One of the things that I had to write about was moving across the country without really having a job, a place to live, and very limited finances. And in 2 weeks, it'll be my year anniversary living in California. Now, a lot of people don't know that I'm an event planner, and I'm just a planner as a person. And it was very difficult to try to move across the country just without all those things lined up. And I was just like, I am going to end up on the street. I don't know how in the world I'm gonna do this. Like, God, like, you need to help me. The more I tried to plan my move over here, the more things got crazier. Nothing would like go together, but when I took my hands off of it, that's when things started to fall into place. Now, I'm not saying that you should start these crazy things without having support or a plan. No, I did not have any friends or family. I came to California without knowing anything. And I didn't even know specifically where I was going to be moving to. So I came here and I had my stuff in my car, I had my car shipped over, and I was driving around. I had rented an Airbnb and I was living in hotels and motels for a few weeks, and then quarantine happened, and then I was in Texas for 5 weeks because I couldn't afford paying thousands of dollars all the time living in these places. And I didn't know how long this quarantine thing was going to happen. Throughout that time, it was insane. I was not getting places to accept me to live in a place. So I'm just like, God, you're telling me to move across the country and I'm not getting accepted into these apartments. Some of them refuse to accept me because I don't have a full-time job at the moment. What am I going to do? And all these places are shutting down and not hiring. And throughout that time, it is stressful, but I could not give up also working the ministry that God has given me. So I had to pour faith into myself and also pour faith into others. Because just like if you're the head of a company, just because stuff happens in your life, you can't always stop your life. You kind of have to be like, okay, I need to pause for a moment, but I still need to keep moving because like life keeps moving. It just doesn't stop. So how can I really like reevaluate what I have? Who can I depend on or ask for help and continue to move forward? And it was very difficult, but knowing that God told me to come over here, that was comforting, because I knew it's like he wasn't going to send me across the country and then not support me. And it's going to be a year, and praise God that I still have a place to live at. And I continue to pray that he continues to cover me and keep me healthy, because it is very crazy out there. But in that time that I can continue to help people change their lives. About 3.5 years ago, I was in a very tough place in my life. So I had believed in God for a large part of my life, and then for like 3 years it was an on and off battle. So starting a faith blog after having all these crazy situations in my life was very interesting. And hey, starting a faith blog was very interesting because I felt like I needed these tools when I was coming back to God, and I wanted to give other people the opportunity to grow as well. Because there's a lot of times that people in the church and in life that they will condemn you for not really knowing, oh, you should know this. Like, if you believe in God, if you believe in God, you should really know how things work. You shouldn't really ask these questions. And I didn't feel like that was useful. You're turning people away from the church. You're turning people away from trying to get the healing that they need and getting shamed. And I had to create that safe space for me. And I wanted other people to be able to take the step towards God. So whether they were a newcomer, or if they didn't believe, or if they've believed forever, they would be able to have some sense of community. And although it's still small, I know that God will continue to grow this and help people see that there's a purpose worth living. That even though that they're going through whatever their situation may be, whether it's chronic illness, whether it's homelessness, whether they lost their job or they've been abused, all these different things. And there's a lot of things that I've been through in my life that either people know or don't know about, and they'll learn throughout my time writing or through my videos, that they can find some sense of hope and that they're not alone. Because a lot of times when you're going through things, it's really easy to feel like you are the only person that's going through it, and that like no one will understand, nobody cares about me, nobody loves me, nobody sees me. And having this blog helped me connect with other people that said, oh my goodness, Stephanie, what you wrote about really resonated with me. And a lot of the things that people resonated with were the things I struggled with the most. So either it was anxiety and self-worth was something I struggled with and sometimes still struggle with on and off throughout my life. And I had to put my heart out there because God was pushing me to talk about certain things. And people would write to me and they said, oh my goodness, your post made me cry. And I'm like, ooh, I'm so sorry. And they're like, no, it's what I needed. I thought that I was the only one that went through this with a significant other, or that I was the only one that... Sorry, this table just gave me a splinter while I was talking to you guys. I was the only person that went through this, and I had to put like a smile on my face. And we think that we're going through these battles alone on this earth, and there's so many things and stories that are just repetition in our lives. There's people around you that have gone through battles that need to hear your testimony. So I see that you guys sent me certain questions. What did your parents say when you first told them you're leaving without an actual game plan? Did they think you were crazy? Glad you made it. Well, my mom is on here. My dad was not as supportive. My mom was very supportive throughout the whole thing. But my dad, he wasn't like, oh, like, you're stupid necessarily. He said that I needed a plan. My mom is a faith warrior, and she is the one that has taught me a lot of things growing up. But she and I definitely had to grow, and we had to learn how to let go because we're super tight, like yin and yang. And she was constantly praying for me and reminding me, and I felt like I couldn't go until I got that okay from my mom. And I remember that time that I went to her and she was like doing her hair in the bathroom, and I was just like, okay, Mom. And I looked at her and she's like, she's like, you know, it's okay for you to go. Like, I feel like you're waiting for an okay to move forward, and it's okay. Like, you don't need my okay. Like, God already told you to go. And it was really tough. And I booked my ticket while they were celebrating their anniversary in Dominican Republic, and when they came back, I was just like, I bought my ticket and it's one way, and they're like, what in the world? But I felt like God told me in that time while they were away, and I had to take advantage of that moment, because if I didn't take advantage of that moment, I knew that I would wait forever, because I was constantly trying to come up with a plan. I was applying for jobs for months. So God told me, I have it on a frame in my wall, the ticket, when I was in a park. It was July 30th, 2019. And I was applying for jobs from that week in August all the way through February. And I just kept going, and I was finding out all the different laws of things that I needed to sign up for, because New Jersey and California are so different in so many ways. And I did all the planning. I had Google spreadsheets filled out, so then that way it was easier. But I just felt like it was a push, and I was in the park by myself. I was at this national park in New Hampshire, and I just heard it. I was walking by myself, and I don't recommend walking around in a park by yourself always. But you know, I'm a little weird sometimes. I heard an audible voice as I was walking, and it sounds insane, but I can question everything else in my life, and that is the one thing that I know hands down I heard correctly. And I had wanted to move to California 10 years before, and opportunities like came and went. And then 5 years before, I was like, oh, okay, like I like it, but I don't love it. And I just dropped it just because things in life happened. And I didn't feel like I could move across the country, because I am super close with my family. I didn't feel like I would be able to survive without them. And I was just like, God, like, you want me to move across the country and I have to do this by myself? It was insane. I had then a friend that said that she was going to move to California with me, and I was like, great, this is going to make it a lot easier. It was going to be cheaper because we're sharing an apartment. And for a couple of months, we're planning and doing all these things. And then she got a word from someone else that told her that she shouldn't be doing it. And throughout this journey, God has told me certain things with the blog and other things in my life. And what I've learned is some people are not going to understand your calling. There's going to be times that God tells you and only you. I saw this post yesterday, and it said something along the line that God called you and told you about your calling. It was not a conference call. And I was just like, wow, that is insane. But it's so good, because there were people that told me, no, you shouldn't be doing this. Are you sure you want to do this without a plan? And I felt that way, but I couldn't let my emotions take over what God had already told me. And they're like, you need to do this in this way, you need to wait. And there were so many things like going in and out of my ear, and I didn't tell a lot of people, just because you can get off track because you're depending on people's opinions. You're depending on them hearing it from God. And I'm not saying you shouldn't seek wisdom or wise counsel, whatever you want to call it, but you have to know the difference when people are speaking from fear or when they're speaking from wisdom. And you have to understand, like, did God tell you this, and did he give you a time frame? After some time, I was hearing deadlines. I was hearing, like, at first I thought it was at the end of October, and I'm telling you this, I was so scared. I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not moving across the country. I don't have what I need to do. And there were all these other things that he asked me to do, but I'm like squinting because it's like super small and I don't have contacts in. Yeah, no one's gonna understand your decision. He has plans for all of us, and not everyone hears him or takes the time to sit down and really connect with him and like your true self. And then I heard like I needed to leave before the end of February. I had a deadline. He gave me a date, and it was February 28th, and that was the same day that I ended up quitting my job the year before. So it's so weird, but nonetheless, God protected me, and then he gave me so much content for my blog. So throughout the time, I wrote about the anxiety that I had in this journey. I've written about the self-doubt. I've written about my process with my faith and learning how to really trust God and hear him, because there's a lot of things that can distract us or can sound like God. And a lot of times what can sound like God is our own insecurities or our own ego. So you can say, oh, well, God told me. Well, did God really tell you, or was that your ego? Is that your own selfish desires? Because God will tell you to do some things that it's not gonna feed your ego. And if you think that it's going to feed your ego, why are you doing it? Are you doing it for God, or are you doing it for the fame? Because I remember the one time I did a workshop and not one person showed up. And my mom would have showed up, but she had to work because my mom's always there for me. But not one person showed up, and it hurt. But I knew that I made that commitment that I was going to show up, and I was doing it for God, not just for me. And the whole time I stayed on live and I prayed the whole time until the time frame that I had allotted was over. And a lot of times that can be disheartening. So I know before I told you guys about the seeking the value or the validation, I had to make sure that I was killing that thing within me that wanted the applause, that I'm doing it for God and no one else. If no one shows up, will I show up when God told me to show up? And those things are what some Instagram gurus won't talk about. People will talk about, oh, I'm doing this for ministry, and they're just doing it for the likes. Like, are they doing the things for change? Are they really giving you advice to help you change your life, and not just to make it look good on social media? So that it's a lot of learning. It's a lot of discipline, and don't make these crazy insane goals that you can't attain. It's going to take time to create that habit, and then it's like, okay, now I can move up. Now what else does God want me to do? Does he still want me to go this direction? And I'm not saying every time I was perfect. There was a time that I was very disobedient. God told me to do something with the name, the Inner Glow Up, and I got distracted with things going on in life, and someone else went and trademarked it. And it was only 3 weeks after he told me, and I'm like, oh, I have time. Like, this doesn't have to be right now. Got distracted. And so now I will be changing my name sometime this year. So I'm giving you guys a heads up. But knowing that even the people that you may look up to, I'm not saying that you guys looked up to me, but I'm just saying in general, the people you look up to online, they're imperfect humans. So taking that time for you to say, okay, does this work with me? Does this align with my beliefs? Does this align with the path I'm trying to take in my life? And like, there's this saying, it's like, eat the meat and spit out the bones. So take what works, and then it's like, leave the rest. I can grow from this. There's a lot of information coming at you from people out on the street, your friends, your family, and then social media. And it could be an information overload. So taking that time to digest and being like, okay, I need some quiet time to see what's really working for me and how I'm going to move forward. Because you can take in all this information and then none of it works because you're in a decision paralysis. So it's okay to slow down. And I know that's hard for me to do. And just say, like, I need time with myself. I need time with God. And for me, that's really going into like parks or going to the beach, because my brain can be full of so many different ideas, and I just need to connect with nature and God and say, like, can you talk to me? Can you tell me which way to go? Because I'm getting too much advice, or I have too many ideas within myself, and I just want to make sure that I'm following what you're telling me to do. And it's okay to make mistakes. So don't feel like everything has to be perfect. And I am a recovering perfectionist. So don't feel like everything has to be perfect all the time. When you're starting ministry, a business, or following an idea, give yourself that grace that you give others or God gives to you to, okay, I made a mistake. I'm going to learn from this. I'm not going to do this again. And this is what I'm going to put into place to prevent myself from being in that same situation or making that decision again. And also seeking counsel. Take workshops, read books. I will always tell you guys to read books because I feel like it's such a great source of knowledge. Spend time by yourself and with God and really dive into what's going to help you elevate yourself. And don't expect for you to become the next big thing overnight. I'm not saying that I'm doing this to become the next big thing. Like, whatever God wants to do with this, like, I'm going to continue to be obedient, but give yourself time to learn and become who you're destined to be. That person is not from today to tomorrow. It's going to take time. It's going to take situations that are going to influence who you are. All the things, good and bad, what has happened to you has helped shape who you are today. And the same thing for your future self. So don't think that you have to be the overnight success that social media is promoting now, which is very toxic. And asking for feedback is like, how can I improve? Is this really working for you? And take that with a grain of salt, because there's going to be a lot of opinions, but go to your trusted advisors, trusted friends that will give you the information straight and that's going to be constructive. And I am going to do the giveaway right now in case, well, because we just reached around the half-hour mark and I didn't want to take more time than that. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. I will be doing a lot more articles this year about, obviously, faith, but chronic illnesses, because that's something I go through and it does affect my faith a lot. And there's many people that say, oh, well, if you don't believe in God, you shouldn't really think that this is going to be forever or that you are really sick. There's a lot of different perceptions, and that's fine. But there has to be a middle ground for the people that are suffering to have some source of hope and feeling like they're loved and they're seen, because you can feel very isolated when you're going through a lot of health conditions. And I will also be changing the name, like I said, this year. And if you guys want, you can subscribe to my website. It's theinnerglowup.org for now. And you are more than welcome to send me an email if there's something that you want to hear me talk about, or just shoot me a DM. So I am doing the raffle right now. Oh, okay. Sorry. So, just so you guys know, I'm not cheating. Okay. Well, the ring light, it says captivating cupcake quotes. So you are the winner of the raffle. So that will be going out to you. I will be sending you a DM and an email. Congrats. So you will be getting the bookmarks from the Inner Glow Up. You will be getting a 90-day journal from Based on Purpose. So thank you, Malia, for including that in the raffle. She is an engineer, and she created this journal to help you get closer to God and organize your day and your goals and really take that time out to align your life. And then the other person I want to thank is Janelle from Janelle Writes, and definitely check them out. The giveaway posts, I tag their pages. There's going to be pins and the stickers in there, and both of those women are powerful women. They have their own different pages, so blogs or YouTube channels that they write about different things of faith and their journeys and what different things they're offering in their stores right now. So check them out. I appreciate all of you guys for either tuning in live or watching the video later, for reading my blog articles or sharing my posts. It means so much because maybe it might not resonate with you, but someone that follows you may feel connected with it. I appreciate you guys sending me ideas, supporting me, sending donations. I could not be here without the support of my community, my family, and my friends, and my church family. So I appreciate all of you guys. I hope you have a blessed day and that you continue to find healing within yourself and grow in your faith. Much love. Bye.